I was in the store the other day. There's a rare and used bookstore, and I walked in and asked if they had any rare Watchtower books, but they had none. I asked if they had Freemason books. They had a few, but they were only modern books. And then I looked through that and asked for Mormon books later on. So I was directed to this section on the occult, and then there was another section on spiritism, which I didn't look at, but this one jumped out at me because I did a video on this before. It's Occult Theocracy by Edith Starr Miller. And on the cover she has all these symbols that orders use and various religions. So this was originally printed by her in 1933. This is now 2007, Christian Book Club of America. And it's in 2 volumes. And I really wanted this before. When I did the first video, I only had the PDF to look at. And she goes into many things. Here's her and her 2 eldest children, it says. And I'll just read a little bit of the foreword. It says, "This book makes no claim to literary merit. It is simply a work of research and documentation, giving evidence and facts which I trust will help the reader in drawing his own conclusions." Skip a little bit here. In offering this book to the public, I have endeavored to expose some of the means and methods used by a secret world, one might almost say an underworld, to penetrate, dominate, and destroy not only the so-called upper classes, but also the better portion of all classes. There are those who feel confident that if they refrain from joining any society or group and avoiding entanglements, no harm can befall them. To such, let me say that situations can be and are created for innocent dupes every day, and wrecked homes are the direct result. Interesting. Kind of sounds like the Watchtower Society. Further on, she finishes off, "This book is not complete. It will never be complete, but for the present it must remain as a study of the root conditions which have led to present-day subversive upheavals and the overthrow of the principles of Christian civilization." Here are the table of contents. Religion of the secret, the meaning of occultism, Egyptian esotericism, Judaism, Druids, Christianity, witchcraft, Gnostics, unorthodox Islam, Ishmaelites, Lodge of Cairo, the Assassins, the Knights Templar, Knights of Malta, the Rosicrucians. Many things to look through, and I could do separate videos on some of these subjects. Albert Pike, Illuminati of Spain, Order of the Jesuits, many orders, the Knights Templar of America, Jacobins, Masonic orders. So, yeah, there are 2 volumes. And the reason I got into this book, first of all, is because of Charles Taze Russell and the Bible students. So, I'll just pause this. So right here, it says, date of foundation, 1879, Russellites or International Bible Students. 539, so that would be in the 2nd volume, so I'll just turn there. 539, and this says the Russellites or the International Bible Students, founded 1879. The International Bible Student Movement was founded by Charles Taze Russell, 1852 to 1916, with the object chiefly of attracting the lower middle class intelligentsia of Christian communities, such as certain clerical workers, teachers, servants, and persons not accessible to direct forms of propaganda. In America, the movement has had great influence among the Negro element. In 1879, Russell founded the Watchtower, of which he was the sole editor. The Russellite teaching, drawing its own arbitrary conclusions and proclaiming them as final, professes to prove from biblical sources that all Christian churches are evil and corrupt, that the time of the Gentiles ended in 1914, and that the Jews must henceforth reign supreme over the world. It also elaborates an occult dogma alleged to be based on biblical precedents. It condemns the Roman Catholic Church, referring to Rome in true esoteric Masonic style as Babylon, and disposes of the Pope and his entire hierarchy as agents of the Antichrist, who are doomed to extinction according to the familiar Masonic formulas of Albert Pike, Mazzini, and company. We are further told on biblical authority, interpreting the following words in Revelation 2:24 as they speak, that this means that Satan is a name applicable to Rome as describing its characteristics. The Protestant, Episcopal, and other Christian churches, which in Russell's graphic language are the harlot daughters of the Romish Church and have committed fornication, which term he interprets as meaning the union of church and state, so bitterly opposed by the Jews in all countries, fare no better at the pen of this prolific writer, who predicts that under the visible rulership of the ancient worthies, the Jewish Sanhedrin, those Gentiles who still believe in Christ will acknowledge his reign as an invisible one, while submitting as Christians to all the hardships these Jewish lords might choose to put upon them. Brother Russell gives us little hope for the time of tribulation which is upon us, for on page 122 of the Finished Mystery, he wrecks any hopes we might still cherish which regard to benevolent brotherhoods in the following sentence: as the trouble increases, men will seek, but in vain, for protection in the great rocks and fortresses of society. And in brackets she has Freemasonry, Odd Fellowship, and trades, unions, guilds, trusts, and all societies, secular and ecclesiastical, and in the mountains, governments of the earth. The publications of the International Bible Students Association are interesting samples of political propaganda and seem well calculated to suppress possible instincts of revolt among such members of the Christian community as might object to the role allotted to them under the Jewish superstate. The present head of this movement is, she has John Rutherford, but it's Joseph Franklin Rutherford. Regarding that mistake, she had a mistake in the other book, but it was fixed in this one, when it comes to Russell's middle name. What I want to show you is the index. And we're just going to read here in the top. It says, in this index and also throughout the work, the following signs have been employed. And the first one is the seal of Solomon, indicating a Jew, Hebrew, or Israelite. And the second symbol is the one we will look at here, indicating a Freemason of a date subsequent to 1717. So it is 3 dots, like a triangle or a pyramid, and we'll look for Russell's name, alphabetical order. And first we'll look at Russellites. It says the International Bible Students 539. She has Rutherford John there, 540, but up here Russell Charles Taze, 1852 to 1916, page 539, which we just read. And beside his name is that symbol of the 3 dots, which is like a pyramid or triangle, and that means that he is a Freemason. So she wrote this in the early 30s, like was mentioned before, and it is possible that she had documents or information that we don't have today of him being an actual Mason. Some people don't believe he was one, but I think I'll keep an open mind on this matter, because I did a little research on certain societies or orders, and the Royal Black Order, they will give you information if they will want to, and if they do, you have to pay a certain amount of money for one document at a time, and they don't have to give you anything if they don't want. And they can, these societies, these orders, they can lie if they want about anybody. You can call it theocratic warfare if you want. That's what the Watchtower Society uses as a term to lie and to cover up their crap. So, did she have information that a lot of us cannot find? Did Fritz Springmeier have information that we can't find? I don't know what his latest news is with the Watchtower Society, but he also went into deep research with those guys, with the Bible students, the Watchtower students. So it's interesting to keep an open mind about this subject and these other subjects, and maybe I'll go into the other topics in the future if anybody's interested. So as far as I know, that's Rosicrucians, that's Boaz and Jachin, G for geometry or generativity or God in Freemasonry. The Ankh cross, inverted pentagram, the caduceus symbol, which is actually used in medicine now, pharmaceutical companies. So interesting work that she has done here so long ago.